Hello and welcome to another Diabetic Witterings with a quick update purely because I am absolutely madly rushed off my feet with work. I've just been spending 2 weeks with one of these, the iCGM 3 from Sinocare, and I thought it was probably about time I updated you on the results. So what is the Sinocare device like? Here you are. That's what it looks like on the outside, with a little needle on the inside there, which you can just possibly see. And first of all, how easy was it to install? Very easy, ridiculously straightforward. It comes with its own little gun. You rest the gun on, you press the button on top, and it basically stabs you unnoticeably. You don't notice it at all. This sticky sheet is very effective. I had this on for 2 weeks solid, well 15 days, and regularly showered, did all the normal things, and it never showed any sign of suffering. So as a little device, very efficient, very effective, just like an Abbott Laboratories or any of the other ones really. They're all rather similar. But it's not so much how easy it is to fit and everything, or how difficult to pull off, which it was. It's also a case of, well, I guess there's 3 factors with these things. The first is it comfortable enough to use? Yep, no problem at all. The second is it accurate? That's quite important. And the third is the algorithms and the reports you get, are they useful? So let's have a look. Now, at the same time as using this, I've also been stabbing myself regularly with my Aga Matrix lancet and measuring device. And I did find that the Sinocare and it were really quite similar. I'm just going to call up the relevant pages now. I've got this new operating system from Apple, which is really clever, but does involve quite a lot of how do you put it, an awful lot of simple adjustments which move your cursor too fast and the whole screen goes weird. So don't worry about that. So here we go. Now it has my details. It says Writerly Witterings. Age 64, yes. Duration 15 days, 1 hour 57, yes. The highest it registered was 11.9 mmols per litre. Now, that's a little high. If it stayed at that sort of level, it would be a significant problem, but it didn't. So there's good. I'm just reformatting my screen so that I can have the 2 things at the same time. Here we go. Right, now, according to Aga Matrix, the highest level I had in the same period was also 11.9, which was the 24th of November. On the glucose chart that comes with the Sinocare, I can't see from this when that highest point was. Now, one thing that's useful about the Aga Matrix is you can get it to send all of your data by email anywhere you want. So I just got a report done today showing me all of the different levels. I can share some of this with you, I think, and will do so on the screen hopefully now. Let's hope that works. Right, so with the Sinocare device, you get some very interesting reports. But I have to admit, getting the reports is not the most straightforward that I would It's not as easy as I would like, put it like that. Now, because I haven't got a sensor on me now, it seems to be the case that I can't see on my phone what the actual history was. I can get a printout which shows me what the highest level was, what the average level was, what the lowest level was. It says I went down to 2.8. I find that hard to believe. It says time above range, which is set at 10 mmols per litre, was 4 minutes. Good if that's true. 100% of my time was within the correct range, time in range, which was 23 hours 52 minutes, and time below range was 4 minutes as well, which is 3.9 mmol per litre. That's good, if that's accurate. Now, history report. Yes, I can see that. Sorry about this. This is, as you can tell, I am learning on the hoof. And I can't find, okay, it says change new sensor. I want to see data. History report. Nope. Event history, nope. So this is a problem. I cannot see the history of my device for the period I was using it. So that's not good. What I would say is that when I was using it, there were several times when there seemed to be a complete disconnect between the Agamatrix finger prick test and the Sinocare. Now, as an example, last night, with that wonderful flexibility that my body seems to have, I tried a nice simple soup. I was testing the fact that there is resistant starch. So, for example, potatoes, you cook up potatoes, freeze them, then reheat them, and the starch within that potato should be resistant to being absorbed by your body. This is something I have spoken about before. So I had a bowl, just one bowl, of leek and potato soup last night. And the blood sugars seemed to be fine. The only trouble was I was starving. So I had a fair amount of swede, just swede that had been spiralised, and ate that. And all of a sudden the blood sugars rocketed to 10.7, which was deeply irritating. But at the same time, when I looked at the Sinocare device, it said that the blood sugars were at about 9. And that's not good. 10.7 to 9 point, I think it was 9.5, but that was 1 mmol per litre out. Not good. On other days, I have noticed, again, a disconnect. Now, the trouble is, of course, that you get a disconnect between the way that a stabby thing works and a Sinocare works. And there's two things. There's two devices. It could be either of them that's wrong. Now, one thing I did find was one day, I think it was the 24th of November, my finger stab told me I was on 11.9. And I thought, that's weird, because I haven't eaten anything that should do that. So I did another test almost immediately, and it was way down. So let's just see if I can find where that is. Oh no, here we go. That was 13.4 on the 21st of October. No, that's October, that's way before. So this would have been in this range. And yes, it was 11.9, and then I did it with a different test strip, and it came out at 9.1. So there is a certain amount of inaccuracy. Doesn't matter which device you use, depending on, for example, cleanliness. Now, the highest of those two strips, I tried to install it in the device. I'd already cleaned my fingers with an alcohol wipe, and basically I fumbled it and dropped the strip on the ground. I picked it up very quickly and I thought, that'll be all right. So I stabbed myself, did the test, and it came out at 11.9. And I thought, no, that can't be right. So I put another strip in, tested myself again, and it was around the 9 mark. I think that first strip just picked up a little bit of muck from the floor. I'll tell my wife. Obviously, the floors aren't clean enough in my house. Actually, it's my job to clean them, so that's my lookout. So that's one side, is that either device could have been inaccurate. Do I trust the Sinocare? Not 100%, no. If I was sticking with these, then I would probably want to continually measure after a meal with a finger prick as well. It's possibly going over the top, but as we all know, if we've got diabetes, you can't afford to take risks. My eyesight is still degrading. I've got to go in for another set of eye injections next week. And it's something that I am constantly aware of, is that no matter what, there is the risk that you can do significant damage if you get the blood sugars wrong. Getting them right is really important. And I like the continual glucose monitor because it means that you can see exactly how the blood sugars are going up and down. Now, I've got a nice glucose chart here which shows things really well. It shows what the top level is, it shows what the bottom level is. Unfortunately, there's no lines across it which show you exactly where you are on any of these days. And it's not as if you can just click on them and it'll give you the details. Now, what was nice was, when it was working on my phone, it would give you a complete graph of the day that you're looking at, but then you could look back over the whole time that you've had the device. You could compare day 3 with day 4, day 5 with day 10, whatever you wanted, day 1 with day 10. You could make your range selection and compare the graphs of each of those days, and then you could run your finger down to any spike or anything, and it would tell you the level of the spike, it would tell you the day it was, the time it was, every aspect about it. That side of things was fantastic, and it would be even more fantastic if it could show you the bloody data now, but apparently it's not there, which is really annoying, to be honest. It's worse than infuriating or irritating. It's damned annoying. But I can hit the data button and it just says data. Well, that's not a lot of help, is it? The history report, you can select which dates you want for the history report. You can have any amount of data. It has got a help function. It has got a share button, so you can share things with other people. So I can share it with my wife, for example. But that's great. But without the actual analysis of all the data that I had, it means that the last 2 weeks have been a bit bloody pointless, which is irritating. Now, Agamatrix, looking through all the data here, what you can do with them is get a complete breakdown of any period you want. Now, I've got here for 90 days, but I can also ask for full data, the whole lot, and it'll just be sent straight down to me, which is wonderful. With the Sinocare device, it says review, analysis and evaluation of historical glucose data shall be done by your healthcare professional. Well, it won't actually, because I can't send them the details that I want to. That's maddening. So Sinocare, you need to have a look at that and make sure that past history is available to the patient as well as just a summary sheet. So What does it say? It's got my name, it's got my age, it's got the duration of the test, 15 days, 1 hour, 57 minutes. It's got the highest level was 11.9. The average was 6.6, which is good. A little bit high perhaps, but good. Lowest was 2.8. No idea when that was, but apparently it was only for 4 minutes, so it wasn't really a huge issue. Looking at the graph, there is no sign of when, oh yes, I see. The 2.8 was when I very first installed the device, so I assume that's while it was warming up. That wasn't an accurate representation at all, which again is a little irritating that therefore shows up. Still, so in terms of the device, it's comfortable, yes. In terms of the accuracy, I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, I am not a statistician. It did seem to lag behind the Agar Matrix finger prick test. Possibly that's not surprising because you've got to wait for the device to register stuff and then send the details by Bluetooth. So, you know, there's things like that. In terms of the output data, as you can see, I find this frustrating. There's one other thing that drove me absolutely nuts though, which I have to mention. And that was, this is a perfectly ordinary iPhone. It's an iPhone 13, I think, I'm not sure. But one thing that I discovered was it was incredibly easy to set up with the device, the Sinocare device. What was not so easy was getting it to shut up. Shut up? What do you mean? What I mean was, or is, that, and again, there is no indication on the event history, so I can't show you, unfortunately. But literally every 4 or 5 minutes for the whole of the 15 days, this thing complained at me because it had lost signal. Now, sometimes that's because there was a big blocking device. Yeah, that. When she sat on my lap, it seemed to block the signal from the Sinocare to my phone. Okay, I can sort of accept that. I've never had any other device suffer like that. But then this is the first time I've had a device on my belly. Every other time it's been on the back of my arm. Sinocare don't recommend that because they say it can be a little bit difficult for some people because the pin sticks in between muscles and then as you flex your arm and so on, they obviously feel that my belly doesn't have any muscle, which is fair enough. I don't think it has got much, but even so, bloody insulting. No, but that drove me absolutely potty, having my phone continually going at me saying, oh yeah, you've lost your signal. And it wasn't just when I had the pup on my lap, it was at any time of the day or night, the damn thing would bingle at me. So in the end, I had to turn all notifications off, which was stupid. If you're going to wear one of these devices, you need it to be robust enough to send a good signal, and you need to be assured that when there is a problem, it will alert you whether you're going hypo or hyper. With this, I couldn't leave it on so that I could be warned. That was crazy. So there you go. Positives and negatives. The Bluetooth connection, could that be my phone? Could be, don't know. Could it be just a one-off with this one and the next one will be better? Could be, don't know. I'm not going to test the next one immediately. I'm going to hold fire on that until Christmas and the New Year, because I think that'll give an interesting set of results. Perish the thought. But hope you found that interesting. Would I recommend these? Yes, provided you... I wouldn't recommend any continual glucose monitoring device without testing your finger prick as well for at least 2 devices worth, and see how you get on. I've got one friend who's type 1. She has 2 devices, Abbott Laboratory, Libra 2s or whatever they are. She has one in each arm constantly because her insulin requirements are extreme when anything goes wrong, and they go wrong quite regularly. So she has to know that when she's got a continual glucose monitor, she needs to know it's accurate. So if she has two, that means she can assess what's going on. If one is wrong, then she can refer to the other one. So, yeah, even with well-known, well-established firms, it's best sometimes not to trust them entirely. So would I recommend them? No. I personally, as a type 2 diabetic, I'm going to stick to my Matrix. I think it's reliable enough. I don't like stabbing myself daily. I don't like having little brown bruises under all of my fingertips, but I feel safer doing that. Yes, sometimes it goes wrong, as I've spoken about the one where I dropped the strip, but generally I think the technology is more robust, more resilient. It's certainly longer standing. So I personally will stick with that. There's the other side too, which is I simply cannot afford £1,200 a year for continual glucose monitoring devices. It's a lot of money and I don't have that sort of sum. So there you go. I hope that was interesting. If it was, feel free to buy me a coffee, send me a super thanks or whatever it is they got on these things. And don't forget, you can always connect through with writerly witterings, and you can be alerted when there's any new video coming out. Isn't that exciting? Right. But apart from that, thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to go back to editing this book now as soon as I've edited this video and put it up, and then I'll speak to you soon. Right. Take care. And thanks a lot. Bye-bye.